All right, so let's talk about the lower, upper, and capitalize methods for strings. Notice here, I just have a string that grabbed from a random article on Wikipedia. So I'm just going to print the lowered version of the string, and notice it's going to do what we expect it to do, which is give us a lowercase version of the string. Now, I want to point out, this is one of those mistakes people make quite a bit. I have not modified the string, so if I do string.lower on line 4 and then print the string, well, let's just take a look at what that does. Notice it has not lowercased the string. It has not permanently altered the string. And think about it like this: strings are immutable. So string methods do not modify the string. Now, if I wanted to modify it, I could do something like this. I could just say string gets string.lower, and if I run that, notice it's now lowercased. So I don't want to permanently do that right now. I just want to print string.lower, and we saw that work. I'm going to comment that out, and same goes for string.upper. Let's take a look, and now the Python terminal is screaming at us about the Diocese of Aberdeen and Orkney. Yeah, it's doing a reasonable thing. It's just capitalizing everything. Now let's look at capitalize. This is going to be a little different, and we're going to think about this a little bit because it may not do exactly what you expect. So capitalize is going to capitalize the first letter of the string. And we've got this collection of sentences here, right? We've got 3 sentences, 2 sentences, 3 sentences. And we're going to go ahead and, we want to capitalize the first letter of every sentence. So let's see what happens when we print string.capitalize. Notice everything is lowercase except for that D, the first D in the entire string. It is not, it has lowercased, right, this I. It has lowercased, this C. So this probably isn't the behavior we want if we're working with a paragraph. So let's take this a little bit further, and let's split the string. We're going to make a string 2, and we're going to split it, and let's split it along periods. So I might do that, and I'm going to just say, well, we have to do a couple things here. Why don't we first try this? I'm going to write a for loop here, so I'm going to just say for sentence in string 2, and let's go ahead and print sentence dot capitalize. So now what we might expect is to see each sentence on its own line. And maybe I'll even do this. I'll add another line in here. What we want to see is each sentence on its own line, and the beginning word of each sentence capitalized. So notice that's not what we're seeing. We're seeing diocese, and naturally there's no periods at the end of these. And then we're seeing lowercase created, lowercase it. Why might that be? Well, we split on the period, and there's actually an empty space at the beginning of these other strings. And if we want to see that, let's go ahead and print this string 2 as a list. And just actually print that, and we can see it much more clearly we've got this empty space right here. So there are a couple ways we can deal with that. One way is to do this and just add a space to the characters that are split upon. And let's see how that does. So notice that's working how we might expect it. It's getting rid of the periods in the first and second sentences, but it's not getting rid of the third one, and that's because there isn't a trailing white space there. So, you know, this starts becoming like a where do you correct this? Where do you make this clean? And I'm gonna just make a suggestion, a way to do that. And this isn't the way, this is a way. So for sentence in string 2, we're going to print sentence.capitalize. Is that what we're going to do? We're going to make a sentence 2. And sentence 2 is going to take sentence, and we're going to use a method called the strip method. This is just going to remove white space from, it's going to remove tabs or returns or just empty spaces from the sentence. So now, if we want to print sentence, well, I can just use this, and I'm going to print sentence2.capitalize. I think we're going to see what we want, or something like what we want. So that's performing its expected behavior. But maybe it's not the only thing we want to do. Why don't we pack this all back into a string? And I'll just give you a quick way to do that. So remember the enumerate function? We're going to use that. And we're going to say for index sentence in enumerate. And sentence 2 is going to get sentence.strip. Let's do string 2. This is our list, remember. Sub index is going to get sentence2.capitalize. And at the end of this, maybe what I'll do is just print a joined version of this. And maybe I want to add in that extra space here. So let's just see what this does. So that .join of sentence of string 2, that is, and barring any errors in logic. Oh, invalid syntax. Capitalize up. We've got an extra close paren there. Okay, so this is doing something reasonably well. If we follow through these sentences, notice we're putting a period, space, and okay. Yep, and a period, and I'm assuming there's a space behind that as well that we can't see. And maybe I will just print that final space to find out if it's there. And I think it is. I think what we're seeing there is an empty space. So we could, we could do something like start at the beginning and don't include -1, and that should give us the string without that final piece. We could also .strip this again if we wanted to remove white space from either side. So even though we're not seeing it, that is what that's doing. It's removing that last empty space.